Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Laili Tri and I am from G class. In this time, I want to explain about strategy to introduction and speaking to young learners. The strategy is total cycle response method, learned by game Peter says. This method, the learners are required to think fast and move fast so that learners can learn more efficiently and pleasantly, not to bothering learners to think monotone with the concept of question and answer input. And this game, there is no material, just floor to sit down, or you can use chair. Steps in implementing the strategy is number 1, the student's initial position is sitting. And number 2, if teacher say Peter says and followed by a name of food, the students must stand up. For example, Peter says fried chicken, so the students must stand up. And number 3, if teacher say Peter says and followed by a name of drink, the students must sit down. So for example, Peter says orange juice, so all the students must sit down. And number 4, if teacher do not say Peter says and followed by a name of food or drink, the student must do not do anything. So for example, you can say it noodle without Peter says, so the student must do not do anything. And number 5, if teacher says Peter says and followed by a name, there is not a food or drink, the students must say no. So for example, Peter says table, so the student must say no. Okay, the reference is Use Fernandez Uzer Strategi Belajar Bahasa Inggris yang Menyenangkan untuk Pendidikan Anak Usia Dini dari Pernik Jurnal PAUD volume 2 nomor 1 April 2019. Okay, that's all my explanation. Thank you very much and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello everyone, my name is Decky Prashadana. I would like to explain about one of game or strategy to teaching English speaking skills. So I would like to explain about post the ball game. Post the ball game actually can be used for any language subject, but it's particularly well to teaching greetings in English for kids. Post the ball is the best way to involve every student to speak target language. In this game, you just need to make a circle for every student in the class, and then just need to music and softball. After that, there are the steps. The first step is teacher plays the music, so teacher can play some English kids songs for this game. The second is student pass the ball while music is playing, so student can pass the ball while music is playing as fast as possible. The third is teacher stop the music and students stop passing the ball. So if teacher stop the music, the student is not allowed to passing the ball again. The fourth is student with the ball should answer the question. When teacher asking question, the student with the ball should answer like if the teacher asks how are you, the student should answer like I'm happy, I am bored, I'm tired, excited or sad. And there are steps for passing the ball. Okay, this is the source. I got this strategy from Games for ESL website, and there are the link for YouTube's and the articles. Okay, that's enough for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nabilah Ajeng Putri I would like to continue the presentation. The next is strategy to teach speaking to young learners by using reader's game. Reader's game use card as the media which contains of noun and the description. The students are required to match the card between noun and the description in the correct form. The characteristic of matching reader's game are as follows. The first is materials. The materials of this game is card written on each different color, noun on green cards, and the description on red cards. Second, every group consists of 4 students, so there are 8 groups. Group 1 to 4 brings the green card and group 5 to 8 brings the red card. This game takes 15 minutes to play. Okay, the next slide is steps in implementing the strategy. The first step is divide the class into several groups, the green group and the red group. The second step is give the cards to each group. There are 4 green cards and 4 red cards. The third step is each student in the first group is supposed to read the description he has aloud, and whoever has the answer in the other group reads the answer aloud. And the last step is if the question and the answer match, put the group in pairs. If they don't, continue till the right answer is found. Each student can read his part only twice, when all the description and noun are matched as the pairs to read the riddle they have just for fun. And here the reference. I got this material from the article The Use of Reader's Game in Improving Students' Speaking Skill at SMA Negeri 1 Buru by Rini Wamnebo, Ricky Bugis, and Hanapi, and 2018. I think that's all for me. The next presentation will be explained by my friend. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Husni Mubarok. Here I would like to explain about teaching speaking by using story game to young learner. Story game is a useful game in teaching speaking for young learners and a kind of game which is designed as a game that uses picture card as the media. Those picture cards contain of picture and a story. In this game, students will be given some cards and they have to combine the cards into a good story in a group based on the correct sequence of those picture cards. And here is the step in implementing strategy. The first is divide the class into 2 teams. The second, make the cards and deal 1 card to each child. Put the remaining cards in a pile in the middle. And the third, Each team looks at their charts and there to put together a story. A story must always end in the end card. The fourth is the child from each team rolls the dice which team goes first. If the first team does not already have a story, they discard one card and take a new one from the pile in the center. The second team can take either the discarded card or a new card from the pile. And the fifth, when one team feels they have a story they call ready, then they then have 5 minutes to organize the story among themselves. Note that a team may not tell their story unless they have the end card. And the last, each player on the team must tell one episode of the story. If the story is totally illogical, the other team can say out. You decide if the story is logic or not. If does not make any sense, the game continues. Okay, the last answer from me. If I have many mistakes, forgive me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zohral Falah Nur, and today I would like to explain about strategies in teaching speaking to young learners. The strategies that I would like to explain is storytelling. A student can briefly summarize a tale or a story they heard from somebody beforehand, or they may create their own stories to tell their classmates. Storytelling fosters creative thinking. It also helps students express an idea in the format of beginning, development, and ending, including the character and setting a story has to have. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Jihan Ilmiatul C. Now I will present about strategy in teaching speaking for young learners by role playing. According to Dhananjaya, role play is an activity in learning process which is the students should not be worried, because in this role play activity, the real situation of life will be created. This activity differs with drama. The duration is very short. The teacher only gives short scenario and the students feel free to modify or improve the situation and character. Next, steps in implementing this strategy. The first is decide on the teaching material. The teacher must decide which teaching materials will be used for role play activities. The teacher can take teaching materials from textbooks or non-textbook teaching materials, such as picture books, storybooks, readers, play scripts, comic strips, movies, cartoons, and pictures. Second, select situations and create dialogue. For every role play situation should be provided by the teaching materials or by the teacher, or created by themselves. The third, teach the dialogue for role play. The teacher needs to teach the vocabulary, sentences, and dialects necessary for the role play situations. The teacher needs to make sure the students know how to use the vocabulary, sentences, and dialect prior to doing the role play activities. Otherwise, the teacher should allow students to ask how to say the words they want to say. The fourth, have students practice the role play. Students can practice in pairs or in small groups. After they have played their own roles a few times, have them exchange roles. That way, students can play different roles and practice all of the lines in the role play. The 5. Have students modify the situation and dialogue. Once students have finished and become familiar with an original role-play situation, they can modify the situations or dialogue to create a variation of the original role-play. And the last is evaluate and check students' comprehension. The teacher shall evaluate the effectiveness of the role-play activities and check if students have successfully comprehended the meanings of the vocabulary, sentences, and dialogue. Okay, in the last slide is references. I took this material from thesis and journal. I think that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Inayatul Fardah and I would like to present about the strategy in teaching speaking for young learners by using picture describing. Describing picture is one of activity in learning speaking English. In this activity, the students must describe pictures in front of the class. Describe here means saying what somebody or something is like. Pictures can be very effective at stimulating speaking in a fun way. The purpose of this activity are to train the students' imagination and retell story in speaking English. This method also make students easier to describe something and make learner process more enjoyable. The steps in implementing the strategy. The first step, preparing the picture based on the topic or the material of the subject. The second step, dividing the students into some group. Actually, it could be individual or group. So, the students will be divided into some groups and each of group can be consist of 5 students or 6 students. The third step is giving the different picture in every group. And then the last step, the student will describe the picture. The references is from the article by the title Improving Speaking Ability by Using Describing Picture. That's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum.